About 400 BC, some Greek doctors were writing about disease in a different way. They said disease wasn't caused by the gods. Over 60 written works survive from these ancient Greeks. They're called the Hippocratic corpus because for a long time people believed they were all written by one man, the Greek doctor Hippocrates. In fact, historians now think the Hippocratic corpus was the work of several different doctors. These doctors discussed how illness was caused and how it could be cured. They observed their patients carefully to try and find out what caused disease. This is one case they wrote about. It was a case of epilepsy.
The boy had these symptoms. In winter, he was sitting by the fire in the bathhouse, being rubbed with oil. Suddenly, he had a fit. When the fit stopped, he looked about. He was confused and could hardly speak.
We took him to the temple. They called it the sacred disease and said we were to wait. They said they wanted to see him when the fit took hold. When it came, it was like usual. He was foaming at the mouth and kicking with his legs.
Do you remember?
They said that Ares was visiting the child.
Ares the god. You hear that, Simius? How can they call themselves religious men when they believe the gods would do this to a child? And if he'd screamed out in his fit, they would have said, "It is the god Poseidon, because he's neighing like a horse, and Poseidon rides a horse." And if he'd passed small turds, they would have said, "It's Apollo, for the god Apollo loves birds, and these are like bird droppings." This is nonsense.
What did they recommend?
They said he should not place his feet one on another. And he should not hold his hands like so.
That's all.
And he should not wear goat skin. Nor eat turtle dove. We can't even afford turtle dove.
For the Hippocratic doctors, epilepsy, like any other disease, had natural, not supernatural causes. One of them wrote,
"It's only because this disease is so different from other diseases that people think it's caused by the gods. People view these fits in ignorance and fear. But this disease is a natural disease, and those that call it sacred are witch doctors, faith healers, and quacks."
He's sleeping. What will you do with him?
We will watch. We'll watch not just his fits, but his whole person. We'll note how he speaks, his silences, his manner, how he sleeps, wakes, and dreams. We will note if he sweats or shivers, his chills, coughs, sneezes, hiccups, his breathing, belching, his wind. And then we will mull over the significance of all these signs.
If a fit is coming, you'll know, because he feels it. He takes himself into a corner and pulls a blanket over his head.
Why do you think he does that?
I thought to fend off demons.
Or simply shame?
Why shame?
Perhaps he is ashamed that you think he's possessed by demons.
These doctors weren't against religion, far from it. What they rejected was the idea that the gods could cause disease. The gods, if anything, would make people well, not sick. Thinking like this made them search for other, more natural causes of disease. They began to notice how the body gets rid of fluids, sweat, urine, mucus, earwax. They wondered what would happen if these impurities stayed in the body. Would that cause disease? They wondered about the effects of diet and exercise and heat and the weather and the wind. And they wrote down what they observed. The Hippocratic corpus records case histories, snapshots of illnesses over 2,000 years old.
On the second day, he was seized again. Fits, some foaming at the mouth. On the third day, he couldn't speak. On the fourth day, he fell, and from then on, he spoke with a stutter. On the fifth day, his tongue was severely affected. The fits came on, and he was beside himself. On the sixth day, as he did not eat or drink anything, there were no further fits.
From their observations, Hippocratic doctors came to conclusions about the human body. They said that a healthy body is a body in balance, and that when the body was out of balance, it was sick. Too much hot or too much cold, too much wet or too much dry could cause sickness. They believed epilepsy was caused by too much cold, wet phlegm, blocking the air from moving around the body.
It shuts off the supply of air to the brain and to the blood. The numbness that you feel when you've been seated too long, it's the same effect. But in this case, it causes a fit. He loses his voice, and he loses his wits.
We are all unstable creatures. We are all liable to get ill. And a disorder this hard to diagnose is harder yet to cure.
We've no evidence the methods were any more effective than others in the Greek medical marketplace. But their ideas were popular among the wealthy, educated and fashionable Greeks. Plato, the philosopher, praised Hippocrates.
If you want to study medicine, go and study with Hippocrates of Kos, the greatest doctor of all.
As the Greeks spread over the Middle East and beyond, they took their medical ideas with them. Greek ideas were written down and ended up in libraries across the Greek world. And then, in about 300 BC, when the Romans began to conquer the Greek world, they took on Greek ideas and spread them even further through the Roman Empire